Roman and Cody are struggling. There's too many of Solo's bloodline to contend with. Until Jimmy Uso returns. And he helps them get the victory and begin the journey for the OG bloodline to restore order. And putting aside the obvious tension and unfinished business with Cody, Roman needs to put family first for now. But there's one key piece of the family that needs to be placed in this puzzle, and that of course is Jay, whose Intercontinental title reign is already over, after Judgment Day caused him to lose it to, of all people, Dominic Mysterio. And he's desperate to get it back, but if that's gonna happen, it's obvious he needs backup. And for now, that will have to be in the form of Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest, or so he thought. Because Priest was taken out and injured by Finn Balor at Bad Blood, and Rhea's leg is nowhere near 100% after getting it worked over by Liv Morgan, and to make things even worse, Dom dropped his newly won IC title down from the shark cage, and Liv used it, but she got caught by the referee, and therefore Rhea won, but didn't win the title. However, she, with Jay, will stop at nothing to get their singles gold back, and they challenge Dominic and Liv to a tag match at Crown Jewel, where Adam Pearce ups the stakes and says that if they win, they will both get championship matches in the future. But that isn't the only enormous match made for Crown Jewel, where we will finally be seeing Jacob Fatu versus Roman Reigns. Reigns has vowed to pick off every member of the family who has betrayed him, and once he has, he's taking back what is rightfully his. And meanwhile on Raw, Carlito is trying to soften up Jay, and at ringside Liv tries to do the same to the onlooking Rhea Ripley. The numbers game is already making a huge difference because now JD and Finn are there. But their attention is taken away when an incident backstage comes up on the Tron, and it's Dominic Mysterio who is down and screaming in agony. Someone has already gotten to him, and this gives enough time for Jay to capitalize. He drops Carlito, and he gets the win. He and Rhea quit while they're ahead as well, and they scurry off through the crowd with the job done. But the question is, who did it? Well, as they get backstage, they run into Damian Priest, and Rhea laughs and says, "Yes, I knew it was you. Even injured, you still smoked that little clown." But Damian doesn't even know what she's talking about. He says he had nothing to do with it. And this confuses Rhea, but it doesn't confuse Jay. Jay seems to know exactly who it was, and on SmackDown we get confirmation when Roman asks Jimmy straight up if he had anything to do with it. Of course I did, Us. Because A, I wanted to drop that little clown, but mostly because I think we need him. Did you hear anything from him? No, nothing yet. Roman walks off, but it feels like he might be open to a reunion. He knows he will need all hands on deck to get back what he feels is rightfully his. But Jay and Rhea at Crown Jewel have that same motive, and they're waiting in the ring for their opponents, which ends up being Liv Morgan and Finn Balor. Finn steps in to replace the injured Mysterio, and he's trying to keep the championship safe within the Judgment Day. And we see Finn and Jay go at it. We see Liv and Rhea go at it. And it feels like it's anyone's to take. But it's fan favourites Jaya who get the win with stereo finishes. It's massive. They lock in championship matches. But the questions are then raised as to where are Judgment Day. And it's revealed that this time, it was in fact Damian Priest, who is fully recovered from his injury and extracted even more revenge on JD and Carlito backstage. But as he walks off, having done the job, he crosses paths with Jimmy Uso. And there is some tension. But given he took out Dom and he wants to reconcile with Jay, he lets it slide. And after Cody narrowly defends the championship against Kevin Owens, who brutally turned on him recently, it's time for the main event. And when Roman Reigns collides with Jacob Fatu, it's a war. They tear the whole place down in a genuinely chaotic brawl. The crowd eats it up because it's two titans they've most wanted to see collide. And it's a little too chaotic because it spills all over ringside and even out near the stage and the crowd. And all corners of the building are not safe either, with the referee instructed to let it go. But how canny when throughout that crowd is other Rogue Bloodline members ready to strike. Tama Tonga and Tongaloa on separate occasions in separate parts of the arena lay in cheap shots on Reigns before coming together to heap on pain. But then from the stage is Jimmy Uso, who leaps off and collects them both. He's putting his body on the line for his tribal chief, which allows Roman to get the clear run at Jacob back in the ring. Or so he thinks, because he has him down after a Superman punch and looking for a final spear. But then Solo shows up in the same position as WrestleMania in years past and spikes Roman this time. He drops to the ground, he could barely breathe, but then the rest of the air is knocked out of his lungs by Fatu from the top rope. And it's easily the biggest win of his career. It's a huge statement from the Rogue Bloodline. But they don't stop there. Tama Tonga and Tongaloa have gotten on top of Jimmy, and they're absolutely destroying him. And back in the ring, Solo and Jacob are unleashing a hellacious beating on Roman as well. It's getting ugly, and they're desperate for help. And it's all being watched by Jey Uso from the back. And Rhea says, "Don't let us stop you from doing what you need to do." Judgment Day, Dominic Mysterio, the Intercontinental Championship, that's one war. But this is family. Jey leaves Rhea's side. The crowd erupts because they saw it all in the Tron, and they're eagerly awaiting for his music to hit. And once it does, the place explodes. He comes out, and the distraction allows Roman to spear Jacob and get him out of the ring. But it leaves Roman and Solo standing side by side as Jey hits the ring. The crowd are looking around at each other. They can't believe what they're seeing. But then Jey drops Solo as well. Jey Uso makes his choice, but it's a choice to side with no one. And he leaves the ring with both men laid out, and he stares a hole through Jimmy as he leaves the building, showing this runs far deeper and far beyond anything just personal. And as Jey arrives on Raw the week after, he explains himself further with Kathy Kelly. Rhea was right. The Judgment Day, Dominic Mysterio, and that Intercontinental Championship is one war. And yeah, it is about family. But I have my own way of doing things. And I ain't serving Roman Reigns again. I left all that behind, and hey, I'm going to say this down the barrel of the camera so Jimmy can hear. I didn't ask for your help. I didn't want any part of it. It was always just to serve him. Everything we ever did was to make him a bigger star. Hell, you cost me the biggest match of my life against him, just so I didn't get ahead of you. That ain't what brothers do. Brothers lift each other up. Brothers are happy for each other's success, whether that be as a team or individually. So if you want my help, you gotta earn it. Speaking of earning it, don't forget you earned a shot at my title, Usos. Or should I say, you earned the right to be embarrassed by me again. See you soon, Jey. Jey has his own private war on the horizon with Dominic Mysterio to try and achieve his goal of getting back his title. But the other war that's raging on is on the blue brand, and it's beginning to boil over. And it's resulted in Roman flying off the handle and challenging Solo and the Rogue Bloodline to war games, which causes concern not only for Jimmy, but also for a man we haven't seen since being destroyed by the Rogue Bloodline, Paul Heyman. My tribal chief, I appreciate that you are angry, I appreciate that you want revenge, but we don't exactly have the capacity to fill a team. Paul, we fight with whatever and whoever we have at Survivor Series. I'm not wilting to them. Hell, for all I care, Jay can join them and we'll fight his ass too. He's got his coming. Don't think for 1 second I'm gonna forget what he did. I've said it before. Things may have changed around here, but I don't. Maybe you should, Us. Maybe that's our problem. Maybe Jay is right. For so long, the bloodline centered around you. And yeah, we had our big wins and you took us to the top as a tag team. But maybe it's time for it to be about more than just Roman Reigns. Maybe Jay did what he did because you deserved it. Because we're individuals as much as we are family. We are just 1 week away from Jay's rematch for the Intercontinental Championship, and he's in an intense tune-up with Ilya Dragunov. But for as good as this match is, it's ruined by Judgment Day. Because of course it is. They roll in usual fashion, but not without struggle, because here comes Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest again. Something has to give sorely, and it does, because Ilya and Jay stop fighting each other to turn their attention to a common enemy. But even though they get some revenge back, it's Judgment Day who gets on top again. And unsurprisingly, it's the numbers game, because Jay's next opponent shows up. Judgment Day are clearly going to be a thorn in the side for Jay when his title match rolls around. But he's a fighter, and he goes into the match to do just that. But not before getting some kind words from a close, loyal friend. Jay, this is the moment. This is your moment. He took something from you that you deserve. You deserve to hold and defend that championship the way it's meant to be. He has disgraced it. And let me tell you, I'll always fight for you, and I'll always fight by your side. Because you're my dog. Hey, thanks, Us. You're the realest person in this whole place. And I appreciate you. I'll always fight beside you as well. No matter what. It's time for the big moment. Jey Uso gets the rematch he deserves, but he's clearly not 100%, shown by the tape ribs after multiple shots to the gut with the chair. But he's never let anything like that stop him. He keeps pushing forward and he keeps the pressure on Dom, because he's clearly better than Dom in every way in the ring. So he tries to leverage that, and he's desperate to not let this chance slip again. But it might not even be up to him, because as Jay aggressively goes after Dom, it backfires when he accidentally kicks the referee. And then, as predicted, here comes the Judgment Day to the loudest chorus of boos you can imagine. And they are very confident because they've already done the hard work. We see backstage, Liv is all over Rhea, Finn is all over Damian, and it leaves Carlito and JD to mess with Jay. It's the numbers game again, but as promised, there is a man who will fight with Jay forever, and Sammy jumps into the fray. He acts as a barrier for Jay as well, and he manages to take out JD, but Carlito overpowers him. And now, not only that, Finn and Liv are back, and they've emerged after leaving Damian and Rhea laying backstage. And Liv jumps on Sammy, and she's choking him. And now Finn and Carlito have the chance to make sure Dom retains. Roman spears Dominic, leaving him for Jay. And Jay cautiously goes to the top and then lands the splash. The referee recovers, makes the count, and Jay regains the championship that was stolen from him. Sammy celebrates with Jay running in the ring to hand him the title that he deserves. And just like that, order is restored. Or so we think, because on the eve of Survivor Series, the Bloodline saga is at absolutely fever pitch. A violent brawl has broken out, and Roman and Jimmy are actually getting on top. And it's because it's even. And in the heat of the battle, Solo gets some distance and he's yelling at the camera, "Tonga! Tama! Get out here right now! Where the hell are you?" The rest of the Rogue Bloodline is nowhere to be found, and as the battle rages on, it becomes apparent why. Because we see backstage, Tama Tonga is down, and next to him, a Sami Zayn shirt. And then we see Tonga Loa is down, and next to him, a shirt that reads Yeet. Taken off the backs of the very men who carried out the attacks, because they've replaced them with ones more suited to a war. The OG Bloodline wins War Games. The Ulufala is restored around the neck of Roman Reigns. The Rogue Bloodline took everything from him, but by changing and holding up his family to help them succeed individually as well as being part of the family, he gets it all back. But there was something that Roman Reigns vowed he'd do once all of this was behind him.